That was something.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Forever?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What? What the hell is this? What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? Figleys. That's a good name for the collectibles. Because they're figures shaped like Stanley. Alright, that's all. Bottom text. Maybe we're the collectibles. Shut the frick up. That's a Left 4 Dead reference. I haven't played Left 4 Dead, but I think it's not that it's the maybe we're the monsters thing. To whom it may concern, I managed to pick up sounds unusual to our regular office ambiance or local audio sources using an array of cardioid microphones, also known as directional mic, a microphone which picks up sound from a particular area. Analysis of the recordings allowed me to triangulate the source of the strange noise. Data shows that in all likelihood it's coming from a dark area behind a very warm place. I also picked up what looks to be a reverberance off a porcelain surface. Anyone have any leads on this? Wouldn't you like to know? What do they want? Weird spinning figurines? Our data stock options. What do they want? Should we make them employees? Maybe. Interns? Yes. Why do they look like 427? Life floating. Magic, our quarterly success. Magnets, training exercise by management. Dreams. Artist's rendering. Employee. Can't read what number that is. How many are there? There are 6. Can we sell them? Obviously. More money if sold together. Do we need contracts for them? NDA, potential liability. Employee 421 building a bridge. Someone in cargo room. Bonus stuff. What we know, what we forgot, what we don't know yet. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? This investigation in this room they feel pointless TBH. I read that one already. Just instinct. Warehouse 8. Access plan. Produce 1 plank to allow ease of access post fence. Construct bridge. Past fence. Receive. Chris? Mission status. Inside of a sequel exhibit. Got that one. Near a fireplace. Somewhere both red and blue. Stairs. Large room. Lots of boxes. There's a checklist, that's good. Gotta collect them all. When I go home. There will be a reward for finding them all. Lies! Oh my god, this is beautiful.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known
8.
was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth
I
that
got
his
the 8
boss had been
achievement.
keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
We near a fireplace. Yes! Still nothing back here, but I found this one.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for
Figleys.
these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Now it's a Figley. We've established this. I missed the bucket already.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for
I
himself.
don't know what I'm gonna do
to
if I can't get the
question
bucket
nature
back
of his
this
job.
playthrough.
Why did he feel this now?
Probably
And
have
for
to,
years,
like,
it had never occurred
Find a
to him.
playthrough.
This
but
question would not go unanswered.
I'm
for
going to
long.
see it. I hope there's a way. Whoa, a spark.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I couldn't skip that time. Oops.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I want... Yes. I did it. I got stuck. Okay. Twas not my intention. I promise. Gosh dang it. The sequel is now paused. God, I cannot stick to one task that I want to do and complete it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go
You're
to
back!
the meeting room. Perhaps
Replacement
he had simply
bucket!
missed a memo.
Yes! That means that I can...
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
I can know that the other one escaped, but also I get to have this one.
Clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you back, Bucket, honestly. The red and blue doors. Stairs. Boxes.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Now I get to do this with the bucket. I'm so glad I accidentally got stuck.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket.
The bucket.
Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
I'm so glad to have this bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
I'm not gonna mess it up this
what
time.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the
I'm not
bucket
gonna do it at all.
wondered to themselves.
Need to stop doing speedrun tricks.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does the bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control never...
I love it. It's an entire whole
the bucket tighter.
new layer of narration over the entire game.
At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
That literally means it has over twice the amount of content as the original.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Surprise.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds.
Silly birds.
Silly birds. The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley
was happy. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Let's do some of the phone endings now. Let me check the time.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figleys. What do you think, Stanley?
Figleys.
What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by one?
Figleys.
Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest
I did that on
friend.
purpose, by the way.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one
Wow.
another's arms.
That's so
How
beautiful.
deeply touching.
Yeah.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Whoa.
Stanley
Little
took the door
handle
on his
bounces
left
up and down.
to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him. The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Oh, it's here.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man. Press T for us to go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold,
on my computer.
empty bucket, this
It's
sort of
flipping through my computer.
shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
So worked out.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley,
romantic.
give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Did the bucket just kill the narrator?